Hello, everyone. It's President Donald J. Trump, and it's Trump time. Check out this red beauty. It's one of my new watches. Wear it proudly on your wrist, and everyone will know exactly what it's for, who it represents. It's really going to be something special. It's for your favorite president. Get your watch today at gettrumpwatches.com. These make a great gift. It's Trump time.
In the twist that everyone except for these people saw coming, MAGA supporters who bought Trump watches are now saying that the whole thing feels like a scam. Yes, in the middle of a government shutdown, when Congress isn't even in session, when Americans across the country are worried about whether or not they will be getting their next paycheck, when some Americans are worried that they'll even have a job by the end of this, our sleazy president has decided that now is a good time to scam his own supporters. And it would have to be his own supporters because no one else would buy anything from Donald Trump. And I think it's safe to say that he must know that. Trump, who is currently so concerned about his own morality and his soul and whether or not he's going to get into heaven, just can't seem to help himself. Scammers are going to scam. He doesn't know how else to be.
I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven. Okay, I really don't. I think I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly in Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven.
So over on Trustpilot, the majority of the reviews give the watches 1 star, leaving it with a 2.8 star rating. Maybe some of those are haters, I don't know, but many of the reviews say that the president overpromised and underdelivered, which is the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do in retail if you want your customers to have a good experience. I suppose Trump isn't too concerned with customer retention, though. He should never have had the customers that he did have with this venture to begin with because, shouldn't everyone know by now that he is a scammer? But he still got some hangers-on, unfortunately, for the rest of us. The reviews also mentioned that there were delays in delivery and altogether missing deliveries, and they said that inquiries seeking refunds were simply ignored. So from the Daily Beast, the timepieces are made by the Best Watches on Earth LLC and range from $499 to $2,999 per watch or $5,389 for the Ultra Mega Collector set. The president has been criticized for hawking them on cable TV as a government shutdown drags on over healthcare funding. A Daily Beast review of the site's Trustpilot profile uncovers a string of poor reviews, with 57% of the 30 customers who have rated the watches at the time of publication giving the company just 1 star. Another 3% of reviewers gave it 2 stars. Trustpilot is one of the internet's leading review sites, though the Daily Beast cannot independently verify the accuracy of the complaints. And of course, here is what some of the reviewers had to say. My daughters ordered a Trump watch and after 5 months of waiting have not received anything. It's a shame this company is not holding to President Trump's high standards. This was a present for my 80th birthday, wrote one MAGA supporter on July 14th. So they still believe that Trump has high standards. He really dazzled them with all of his tacky gilding of the White House and his paving over of the Rose Garden. High standards indeed. Another, Michael, posted 11 days earlier, no watch delivered, endless lines of customer service, hollow responses. Ordered a watch July 10. Haven't got it yet, posted Swede Rainer Ludekins on September 5th. Mike from Norway posted on June 7th, I plan to sue. This is a scam. All right, well, good luck suing. On January 8th, Let Me Be Frank from Switzerland, a country famed for its watches, wrote, absolutely horrible customer service. Do not buy any of these garbage products. Avoid like the plague. And speaking of Switzerland, the watches are said to be Swiss-made, which must be confusing for MAGA. Swiss watches are known to be the best, and Trump knows what the best is, and he tolerates only the best. Remember, Trump has very high standards. But is a Swiss-made watch America first? Not really. Well, lucky for MAGA, the watches do appear to have been made in Wyoming, so I guess the good news is that they are technically America first. The bad news is that he is lying in his marketing. Another customer, Timothy M. Reynolds, warned on April 29th, do not order anything from these people, while LS wrote on March 21st, took my money, then nothing. It finally dawned on me I was scammed. Avoid ordering anything from these people. So these people is interesting, and it keeps coming up. After 10 years of president/politician Trump and after decades of questionable and failed business ventures prior, they have still managed to divorce this experience from Trump himself. If this was any other product or any other celebrity, they would never have been able to live something like this down. YouTubers who do makeup on the internet have been canceled into oblivion for much less. Case in point, here is another 1-star review from Terry Barber, who is under the assumption that Trump, despite the fact that his name is on these watches, despite the fact that he is making money off of them, and despite the fact that he is advertising them, is unaware of how bad these watches and the customer service really is. I won't read the whole thing, but the headline is, "I wish President Trump could be notified about what this company has done to customers. I have read many stories of people who never even received their watch." And then what? What will he do once he is notified? So to be fair to Terry Barber, he probably is unaware. And he is probably unaware because he probably does not care. He's unaware because he can afford to be unaware because, again, despite his demonstrated decades of being a scummy businessman who's not remotely above scamming his own customers, he knows that he can just take people's money and suffer no consequences at all. The smart move would be to just not voluntarily give him your money in the first place, but that is asking a lot from members of the MAGA cult who still have not managed to break free. But Trump has covered his bases here. The Best Watches on Earth LLC, which is probably the Trumpiest name for a watch company I have ever heard, says that they are not a part of the Trump organization or the Trump campaign. They also specify that the watches are not designed, manufactured, distributed, or sold by Donald Trump. We also don't know exactly how much Trump is making off of these watches. Either way, Trump can't take all of this money with him once he makes it to not heaven. A New Yorker investigation estimated that by the end of his second term, Trump and his family will have taken in more than $3.4 billion, largely from deals and investments that likely hinge on his presidency. Forbes pegs Trump's wealth at roughly $7.3 billion, putting the immediate family's combined wealth at nearly $10 billion. And if no one is really talking about this, Gavin Newsom is. His trolling persona on X posted Trump's watch ad, which is now running regularly on Newsmax with the caption, "No healthcare for you, but you must buy my watch." The thing is, I am not going to tell people how or where they should spend their money. I can't do that. I can't make people care about healthcare, either for themselves or for others. The people buying these Trump watches at a time that's already rife with so much economic uncertainty, even without taking the shutdown and the layoffs into consideration, are probably the same people who believe that the Democrats somehow managed to shut down the entire government. So whatever, I'm not going to feel bad for these people who have allowed themselves to be scammed and conned by a man who has made a career off of scamming and conning people and businesses and entire nations. That's a lesson that if they have not learned it by now, they just don't want to learn it. The government shutdown, however, is in its second week with no realistic end in sight. The Democrats are trying to negotiate, but according to them, the Republicans won't even come to the table. And I'm not trying to celebrate the Democrats right now because they still are generally very, very disappointing. But I do think that fighting for this healthcare provision is worth it. They really should be talking about it more than they are, and I wish that they were. I see them making media appearances everywhere, but they're not reaching the people that they need to reach as far as winning the PR aspect of this shutdown. In fact, they're doing the opposite. They're going on podcasts thinking it'll go well for them, make them look good, get some softball interviews going, and it's just not going the way that they thought it would. If they were expecting Democrats and leftists to give them the same treatment that Donald Trump got from Theo Vaughn, they have made a gross miscalculation. If anything, they've alienated themselves even further from people who were already on their side. I like Gavin Newsom and Cory Booker less now than I did before I saw these interviews that they did just in this past week alone. The even more unsettling thing that has been revealed from these various Democratic podcast appearances, however, is not just that the Dem establishment is not listening to us, they're not getting our messages at all in the first place. I would like to think that after 10 years of living through an absolutely mind-numbing political landscape, that people would be more savvy as to what kind of a man Donald Trump is. And I would like to think that after 10 years of mediocrity, that the Democrats would understand that they're not going to win with centricism, which is literal mediocrity, But that just hasn't proven to be the case. So I'm sorry to end on a weird note, but that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.